welcome to Bothsides. I'm Eddy Piddington, and today I'm on the other side of the fence, and the boys are on this side of the fence. Welcome to the other side, gentlemen. So I want to know why did you start this podcast?
Well, it actually started with Daniel came up to me. I did a podcast years ago. Oh man, 6-7 years ago with another colleague. We only did 2 episodes. I think my first one was with Matt Steinway. I forgot. I think the second one was with Bill Maloof.
Wow,
they were horrible. And he saw it on YouTube, and he called me up one day, and he's like, "Oh, would you do a podcast again?"
Let's have the stats. So, because I see the pictures on Instagram. Where is it ranked right now?
It changes. Well,
daily.
I
saw one the other day that was good. Where was it?
We've got about 50,000 followers on the Instagram and TikTok combined.
Wow.
No, 100.
So 100 combined, 50 independently.
Yep.
The average podcast gets around 7,000 plays.
Wow.
That's on Spotify.
But ranking on Spotify,
Spotify,
we've been number 3 and number 4 a few times, and then it drops down. And
that's the biggest one I saw. That's insane. That's incredible.
It goes all over the shop. It's going mental. It's like we're having the time of our life. I think the best thing about this is we just get to pick the brains of the top 1%. And we get to ask our own questions.
How are you picking them?
It's a formula.
How did I break the formula?
It's a combination of who did we want to learn off at a particular point in time, who had a brand and a following as well, and then it organically starts to snowball where it's like you refer us to this person, they refer us here.
Yes.
Our brand accumulates equity where somebody like a Gavin Rubis needs prepared to come on the podcast.
Yep.
So it just evolved over time.
Good. Yeah. So I want to know, how many people have you interviewed right now, roughly?
We're on episode like 95.
So 95 different individuals.
We would have completed 100 podcasts that we've recorded already.
By the time
end of this month, we'll be
100. Okay, so call it 100 people. So you've met 100 of the best and smartest people in this country.
Yes.
And I was going to say pick one, but if we're to pick 3 of the top traits, and you can do it separately because I reckon Dan's picked up different things to Kev. What are the 3 top traits or consistent traits from the top 100 people in this country that you picked up on?
Consistency in everything in their life. Mm-hmm. The best personal life, like their home life is immaculate. Mm. And it's funny. You see the Gavs, you see the people on TV, and you think they've got an ego. None of them have an ego.
Everyone's right at the top.
No one has an ego. They're all egoless.
So no ego, good personal life at home, and then consistency.
So
same or similar or different?
Kevin and myself are very yin and yang.
I sense that.
The number one that all of us have is a trauma or something that's really driven us to step outside of our comfort zones and really give it a crack. There's something that's occurred in our lives that's made us think outside of the box.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yep.
Number 2 is a continual kind of natural state to continually progress in life. And what that creates is a sense of us never giving up. So we'll be hit in the face 20,000 times and we'll still never give up.
Yeah.
And, off the back of that, where there's a will, there's a way. And then when you match that with a bit of consistency and discipline, because we are striving to be create this North Star for our lives, that's when what creates success, in my opinion, from interviewing people. And then, but that's one side of the coin. Then there's the fulfillment side. So we often are motivated from a fear state, and then it's about how do we then create a life we actually enjoy. We're not creating a life based on us escaping a fear state. So it's about flipping the script. And the good ones have mastered both. They've not just mastered making money, they've mastered fulfillment and making money.
That's interesting. It's funny. Sometimes when you don't have any money, the number one goal is to build and make money. Yeah. And then when the people that often have money, you hear a lot of them, correct me if I'm wrong, will say in your podcast, well, it's not really about the money, because they got effing a lot of money usually. Yeah. So then it's about other things, the fulfillment of watching people grow, giving back and things like that. So then this is interesting. So I don't know how many people are in Australia, but, we look at 100 and I don't know how many are successful and how many are not. But things like Dan just said, people get smashed in the face 20 times, but they keep going. I wonder, they're the 3 top traits from each of you, but like why can us three do a certain thing and the guy walking past the office right now maybe can't? Where is the trauma could be a big part of it, and I think maybe for me it's a part of it.
It's either trauma
I wonder what it is.
Insane belief, which is either a manifestation of somebody, a good upbringing where you've been brought up to believe you can be number one, or it's a manifestation of you escaping a trauma where it's too painful for you not to be number one. Nice. Life is too shit where I am for me not to create this success.
Yep, mate.
They're the two. It's either I've been conditioned that I can be, I've got this insane belief, or it's I'm escaping this shit environment.
And then if it's like you read stories about, I saw something the other day on Instagram, a guy was a heroin addict and now he's like a CEO, which is amazing. But that's the trauma thing again that we just spoke about. So then I wonder, is this coachable going from, I suppose, zero to hero? Is that a coachable thing? Or is it this guy's got it in him because of X and he will hustle? Or is it this guy wasn't brought up entitled, he's got a trust fund and we can train him to make another 100 million? Or no, he's got what he needs and he's all good?
I think there's definitely an anomaly where you don't have to go through a trauma to have this thing in your head that just goes, okay, I'm just going to do it. But I think it's really rare. I think you have to go through some real bad trauma. Like I lived in trap houses, so kicked out of home when I'm 16. Like it just wasn't good. That was my trauma. I had to eat. That's why I click. But I have a look at some of the other guys where they had comfortable lives and they're doing extremely well. It's just very rare the people that did it without trauma, or they didn't even say it, or they didn't tell us.
So there's a formula for success, right? There's a blueprint in the sense that if we want to get bigger biceps, we can get a blueprint from a personal trainer. There is a science of achievement. But what actually creates us following?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. So there's a science of achievement which anyone can follow. But what gets that person to do it is them removing the walls that hold them back through mentorship, osmosis, environments. Like you talk about the merge to Ray White, your environment will elevate your ability to create further success. The alternative to that, like we're kind of talking about, is they need to have something internally which drives them. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's a great question. Like I wonder sometimes if I was born into a super wealthy family and I had nothing to worry about, and I know people that are, would you be successful or not? If you had 100 mil to fall back on and go...
I wouldn't.
See?
You could because of environment. So Donald Trump's kids could be because of the environment.
And they all are.
Well,
because of the environment, right? Who you surround yourself with, who you become.
I stayed so I lived in a place on Gordon, the one that sold for 8.8. I stayed there for a while. And I've seen a billionaire's lifestyle. And if I had that money, I wouldn't work. I've seen it.
There you go. So you wouldn't have... Even if I've got all this money, man, I still need to win. I still want to, create something for me. I lived
there for a few months. I was like, why?
This is much better.
And then it comes like, environment plays a big part. If your environment wasn't conducive for high performance, and you don't have a trauma, it will be very difficult for you to then start embodying that.
Well, it must be like also some of our agents or top performers, like some of these guys you've interviewed. Have you interviewed a billionaire or not?
No.
Not on the podcast, have we?
Well, we all know them.
Not that they've told us they're a billionaire.
No, but I suppose... Yeah, of course. Yeah, some of them will be soon. But I suppose for those guys, like where's the mental shift? If you've got 100 mil... they must have this driver that says I need to get to 500 mil or from 500 mil to $1 billion. I'm just so curious on I think it's what we've covered. It's the trauma, it's the need to go, like even when the first agent cracked $1 million GCI, I remember years ago it was unknown. There was a couple in Australia that did it. Now it's the norm.
Do you know what I'd say to that, Eddie? I asked you a question today. Why have you not set the goal for 10 million?
Yeah.
Why haven't you? You had this... Is it for you that you've got comfortable where you are, or is it you now don't believe you can get from 5 to 10?
I think for me, to answer it, for me now, it's my goals are different. my biggest goal is how I can make more and earn less.
Do you know how he gets to work?
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I think everyone goes. You guys are younger than me, and I think you're in the rocket ship like this, right? You're sending it and you're going up, which is amazing. I feel like David and I have been a bit older potentially, and I can't speak for Dave, but we've gone up like this trajectory. I know when I was a bit younger, I was like, we need a 2x, 3x, and just do it. Then I'm here and I'm like, yeah, this is nice. I've got enough. I don't need much more. But what can I do that's going to give me a great feeling in here, like grow people around us, see a bit more of the world, spend time with people I enjoy. Yeah. That's more important than another zero in my bank account.
So you're switching from the kind of achievement part to now the fulfillment part.
Yeah, sounds like it. We've got 2 minutes left. If you were to give one piece of advice to your younger selves and then your current selves. So if you're in this trap house, which I didn't even know about, what would you have told yourself then? What's a trap house?
A trap house?
I didn't even know.
House,
you brought it up, not me.
That literally you just sell drugs out of.
Okay.
Yeah. So I could work.
You want to talk about that or not?
Oh no. I was actually working at McGrath in Neutral Bay, Mossman, with Piers Van Hanberg and Michael Coombs, and had a breakup. Decided just couldn't handle it. I got cheated on after 4 years, took 2 months off, and then moved into a trap house, and it's probably the worst thing I ever did. But I think the one advice I would give myself is, in terms of real estate, I kept moving areas. Like I've moved to Strathfield, to Neutral Bay, to Box Hill, to Castle Hill, to Balker Mills, to Kellyville. The consistency wasn't there. If I stayed in the same suburb, I would have been where I'm at now 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have stayed at the same spot. I was young, I was naive, and the other big part was I wouldn't have wasted so much time with trying to chase women, just to be honest with you. I was too immature. And the advice for me now, probably slow down a bit more.
So interesting. So when you're young, it's mostly about push, and you're finally getting up there, and now it's just slow down, enjoy.
Well, it's not the slow down and an enjoyment bit. It's the slow down in terms of, you know what? That's not my answer. I tried to give it an answer that was probably the right people.
What's the real answer?
That's something Jay would want to hear.
Yeah, don't worry about Jay.
That's not the real.
I'll talk to Jay.
My advice to myself now: go harder. Like, you can do it. Just go harder.
I like what David said earlier.
Believe in yourself.
That's a Steve Jobs thing. He did that incredible speech. I don't know if you've seen it or any of the viewers have seen it, but he did a speech at a graduation when he found out he had cancer, and he opened the speech with, I used to watch it so many times, you all need to realise we're all going to be dead soon. And it's so powerful, and Dave said it's a bit dark, and it is, but once you kind of put yourself into that element and you can break it down as to how many more minutes we might have on this planet, it really puts things in a perspective, even if you're feeling down or if you're wasting time, to like actually do what counts. If we're in the office now, we may as well do what counts to make some money so we can go and do other things that's more enjoyable. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, that was something I learned out of today to share. Your advice?
To my younger self?
Yep, younger self first. When you just got into business, you did the conference with Ant.
I have to go, otherwise I'm going to be late to this list.
Good, we're all the same.
I appreciate you.
My man, love you.
Bro, track day. Send that invite.
I will.
If I was to give advice to my younger self, was so, because I had experienced so much trauma and loss and grief at periods of time, I was battling life, and the advice I would give to my younger self is just never give up, and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
When you get to the stage where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's now to lean into love of life. Like, have the courage to fall in love, have the courage to just embrace everything with more light than escaping an original space I was in.
Do you feel, because I reckon I've experienced similar, there's times in life where you're looking for that light at the end of the tunnel and you're so in it now, it's like there ain't no light. I don't know where the light is. I don't know if I can drive that far. how do you then try and advise yourself, like, the light's coming? It's a bit like being an agent. You start today, like, no, there's no money coming for a little bit, but it's coming. And I'm sure young agents and associates will start thinking, how much longer, you know, when's my phone going to ring? That's a big thing. Like, how would you coach yourself? Because you've been through it, I've been through it, to say, no, the light's there, just keep chugging on and don't get down or too bogged down in right this second.
So the good news is, for people like us, there is that light. So that's the basis, is that there is, the good news is that is a possibility. When you're in the storm and you can't see out and it's foggy and there's no light, I'm not going to bullshit you, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, there is, what I've just said then doesn't apply, because the emotional state and the energetic state you're in doesn't have a compass to navigate.
Correct.
You just,
it's emotion.
It's emotion. You can't see, there's no clarity. You think, what the fuck?
Yes.
So in that situation, that's where a little bit of just being in that state, and just, you've just got to, when you're in that state, there's nothing I'm going to say that will actually change you. You've just kind of got to ride the wave. However, the good news is there are experiences in life we can go through, and tools and techniques that we can insert post coming out of that storm, when we're in a better state, to then help repair. So help repair our plane, so the next time a storm comes, we can be better suited to handle it.
Yep.
Which
Nice.
I've been spending a lot of time to rebuild and improve on.
Is that health, meditation?
So meditation, different forms of ceremony retreats, different levels of plant medicine journeys, meditation, Tony Robbins, personal development, training, gym, like, I've done it all. Diet, whatever I can to understand myself, so that when I'm in that next storm, I'm prepared for it. So there have been experiences now at my age that I've been able to explore and experience, that have given me more tools in my tool belt to navigate them. But, Matt, I'll be honest with you, this year I was in a storm, and it doesn't matter how much fucking work you've done.
I know.
And, mate, that's what really it's like, man, I'm 26. I've had this storm come up for 20 fucking years. And it doesn't matter what the fuck I do. It doesn't matter how successful I've been, what meditation, what retreat. It still fucking hits you like a ton of bricks.
100%. What do you do?
What do you do? But the good news is, there's a saying called a Nichiren meditation, where things change, the law of impermanence. And you just got to believe and hold on to that belief that there will be a day where I'll be able to navigate, go through, and instead of catching the flu, I'll just catch a cold. And just never give up on that. It doesn't matter what stage of life you get in, just never give up.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's like, you're right. I mean, that's why you call it a storm. I haven't had a storm for a year. But they do pass. Yeah. And it's just having that mental ability to know it's going to pass. But I know when someone's in it, it's very hard. And I think, you alluded on it, health is wealth, right? I think the person can have a journey of go off track and be drinking, partying, not sleeping, and that would just dig that whole 10x. Massively. You go down the health path, it's not going to be easy, it's not going to change it, but it definitely will lighten the load. And I think anything that you're dealing with becomes less dramatic, which means you can deal with it.
Well, the interesting on that, like, I haven't touched a sip of alcohol in a whole year now. It's been a whole year. That's amazing. And what happens in that process is you now have to face reality in life. Like, there's no vice or tools, and some of the things that are internal or rise to the surface for you to actually deal with. Yeah. I go to Peru next Tuesday to do a retreat and pilgrimage and hike through Machu Picchu, a bit more of a spiritual experience, to try and again upgrade my tools, so when I'm in another storm, I'm prepared. Nice. So it switches from my habits change to in that health sense. It's like, how can I upgrade my health? But I think, like, even on that sense, when you go down to upgrade your health, you're actually going to be faced with more, because you're not pushing it under. You don't arrive type thing. Yeah, it's just like what you were nursing with alcohol or a Europe trip or making $1 million is now coming up, because there is no bottle of, you're not drinking, and you have to figure out where that comes from and navigate that. So the healthy path is actually a challenge in and of itself, because you're exposing yourself to actually more scars as well, potentially. No, you're right. I remember when I stopped drinking for 4 months, and it's amazing. Like,
I slept better, I felt more energetic, but I felt I had a slight level of agitation. And I think you're just super alert of people, how they react around you and things, and you can get agitated with like, well, you know, I don't know, I felt this thing I'd never thought I would feel. And I definitely was better, not that I drink much now, but I definitely was better in that state. But yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't now I'm enlightened and it's all changed. It's an interesting process. That's all my questions for today.
Mate, I appreciate it. I hope that was
sick.
adding value.
Sick.